The invitation arrived on a humid August morning, tucked between bills and supermarket flyers on the corner of a cluttered kitchen table. It was a glossy white envelope with gold lettering, heavier than a normal card, the kind that tried too hard to look expensive. 10-year class reunion, West Ridge High School. And beneath it, her name, printed in a bold serif font as if it belonged there with everyone else's, Mila Rowan. She held the envelope between her fingers for a moment, the corners trembling slightly. 10 years. 10 years since she walked those halls with her head down, avoiding eye contact, pretending not to hear the snickers behind her back. 10 years since she left that building with the taste of humiliation still burning like acid in her throat. If anyone else had found this invitation in their mailbox, it might have been nostalgic, sweet, maybe even exciting. But Mila could see the fingerprints of cruelty all over it. They had never contacted her before, not once in a decade. She wasn't in their group chats. She wasn't tagged in their Facebook memories. So why now? She didn't need to think long. The popular crowd, those glossy-haired, always laughing, always perfect people, must have found her online. They must have assumed she was still the same shy, awkward girl with thrift store clothes and 2 big glasses, that she still lived in some cramped town apartment, surviving day to day, that she would say yes to the reunion simply because she longed for approval she never received. They probably thought it'd be funny. They probably planned it in a group chat titled something like Throwback Night. They probably couldn't wait to laugh behind her back. Again. Mila placed the invitation on the counter and exhaled deeply. If only they knew. If only they had the faintest idea of who she had become. 10 years changed everything. She wasn't the same Mila who had sat alone during lunch breaks, doodling in a notebook to block out the noise. She wasn't the same girl who had practically memorized the bathroom stall tiles because the restroom was the only place she could escape taunts like Mouse Girl or Zero Rowan. Life had carved her into something else, something sharper, something stronger, something extraordinary. But still, she didn't intend to attend, not until she received 2 more messages. The first was from Kayla, the queen bee of their year, a name she never forgot. "Hey Mila, OMG long time. Hope you've been well. You're invited to the reunion next month. It wouldn't be the same without you come. We all want to see you." It was the heart emoji that gave it away. Kayla had never used a heart with Mila in her entire life, not even a pity one. Then the second message arrived privately from Evan Hill, star athlete back then, the one who once stuck half-chewed gum in her hair because his friends dared him. His message was more honest than he realized. "This is going to be legendary. Please come." There it was. Legendary. Not meaningful, not special, not nostalgic. Legendary, because making fun of someone they considered a failure was entertainment to them. But Mila wasn't angry. Not anymore. Not after everything she'd survived. Not after everything she'd built. She simply smiled, a slow, unexpected smile that spread across her lips like dawn light, because life was handing her something rare, the chance to walk back into the one place she had fled from, on her terms. She typed one message in reply. To Kayla, to the group, to all of them, "I'll be there." Then she put down her phone, turned toward the panoramic windows of her high-rise penthouse, and watched the cityscape glitter beneath her. Below, on the private landing pad, engineers were completing final maintenance on her newest acquisition, a sleek black helicopter with silver blades and a custom interior she hadn't even used yet. She didn't buy it to make an entrance at a reunion, but when the opportunity presented itself, well, why not? Her assistant, Jordan, knocked on the doorframe. "Mila, quick update. Your team in Singapore wants confirmation on the merger timeline. And the Charity Foundation needs your approval on next month's allocations." She nodded. "Set up a call for this afternoon, and tell the foundation I'll review everything in the evening. Also, remind me next month to authorize another scholarship wave." Jordan scribbled this down, then hesitated. "And, about the event invitation you asked me to look at, the one from your old school," Mila raised an eyebrow. "Yes?" Jordan exhaled carefully, as if unsure how much truth Mila wanted. "It's what you suspected. They've been talking in a private messaging group. Apparently, they're planning to record reactions when you walk in, like a surprise reveal. Some of them think you still work at a diner or something." Mila laughed, a soft, amused sound without bitterness. "Let them think whatever they want. Jordan studied her face. So, you're really going? She nodded. Absolutely. What do you want prepared for the arrival? Mila looked down at the city again, where her helicopter shimmered under the sun like an obsidian jewel. I think I'll take the new Bell Lux. Have the pilot ready by 4. Jordan's eyebrows lifted. That's going to make a statement. That's the point, she said, the smile in her voice unmistakable. For the next weeks, Mila continued life as usual, meetings with international partners, overseeing new tech developments, managing investment portfolios, expanding her scholarship programs for underprivileged students. She worked with grace, precision, and quiet determination. The world she built didn't grow by accident. It grew because she refused to remain small. But still, as the reunion day approached, memories surfaced, some faint, some sharp enough to cut. The laughter echoing behind her in hallways, the whispered insults, the forced group projects where no one spoke to her. The night before graduation, when she overheard Kayla tell another girl, "I bet Mila ends up working for minimum wage her whole life." She had cried that night, for the last time, because the next morning during the graduation ceremony, she made herself a silent promise. One day, I will build a life so big they won't even dare to imagine it's mine. And so she had. The reunion was scheduled at a lakeside resort outside town, fancy, renovated, meant to impress. Mila didn't feel nervous, but she felt something else, anticipation, maybe a little thrill, maybe even curiosity. How would they react? How many of them still believed popularity was currency? How many believed money equaled success? How many were still stuck repeating high school dynamics because adulthood scared them? The day arrived clear and warm. The sky stretched wide and blue, perfect for flying. Mila dressed simply but elegantly, a fitted black jumpsuit, gold accents, hair pulled back sleek. She didn't need glitter, she didn't need diamonds, her presence alone was enough. At precisely 4 p.m., the helicopter lifted from the rooftop, its blades slicing through the air with smooth, controlled grace. Inside, the soft hum was almost meditative. The world below shrank, towns turning into patches of color, roads into thin silver lines. The resort soon came into view, surrounded by trees, cars filling the parking lot. But the moment she approached, something unexpected happened. People began to step outside, small at first, hotel staff, drivers, then more, then clusters, heads tilted upward as the helicopter's shadow passed over them, phones lifted, fingers pointed. The craft descended slowly, skillfully toward the resort's open landing lawn, reserved only for high-profile arrivals. The wind from the rotor blades blew across the gathering crowd, sending hair and clothing fluttering. Guests began murmuring, amazed, confused, curious. Because no one had told them someone was arriving by helicopter, no one could even guess who it might be. The landing skids kissed the grass gently, the engine slowed. The world quieted, except for a rising hum of voices from the growing crowd. The cabin door opened, a staircase unfolded, a collective gasp rippled through the watchers, and Mila stepped out. 10 years after they mocked her, 10 years after they wrote her off, 10 years after they assumed she'd stay small. She stepped onto the grass with the confidence of a woman who had learned her worth the hard way. The crowd stared. Some whispered, some gawked openly. And somewhere among them, Kayla's drink slipped from her hand, splashing against the ground. Mila didn't rush, didn't smile, didn't scan for familiar faces. She simply walked, slow, steady, unshakable, toward the very people who once laughed at her. And every step she took rewrote history. Inside, the resort's reception hall, the music thumped lightly under dim golden lights, the air scented with citrus and champagne. Groups clustered near the bar, laughing too loudly. Some already tipsy from the open bar they'd arrived early to take advantage of. The reunion committee had decorated the place with old class photos, signature boards, and a slideshow looping through yearbook memories that meant everything to some and nothing to others. The moment Mila entered through the main doors, conversations slowed like someone had pressed a soft mute button. Faces turned, eyes widened. There was a chain reaction of recognition, slow, disbelieving, and then almost jarring in its suddenness. That can't be her. Is that? No way. She looks... Holy, is that really Mila Rowan? She walked with the quiet calm of someone who didn't need to announce herself. The kind of calm that money couldn't buy because it was carved from struggle and survival. She didn't rush. She didn't try to appear impressive. She simply existed in a room full of people who once pretended she didn't. Kayla, still shaken from the helicopter entrance she witnessed outside, tried to regain her composure. She smoothed her hair, plastered on a bright smile, and walked toward Mila with determined steps. Behind her trailed two of their old clique members, both trying to look welcoming while also clearly dying of curiosity. "Mila!" Kayla exclaimed, opening her arms like they were old friends. "Oh my God, you look amazing!" Mila accepted the air hug but didn't return it. "Thank you." Kayla blinked. Maybe she expected Mila to gush, to babble nervous responses, to cling to her attention like before. But Mila simply waited, expression unreadable. Kayla cleared her throat. "We were so hoping you'd come." Everyone was saying, "We haven't seen Mila in forever. We just have to get her here." A lie. Mila simply nodded. One of the girls behind her, Sarah, chimed in. "We saw your entrance. Wow. Wow. What do you do now? That helicopter must have cost..." Kayla elbowed her sharply, then turned back to Mila with a grin too wide to be sincere. "What Sarah means is, we'd love to catch up. Let's get you a drink?" Mila's eyes swept the room, calm, assessing, unbothered. "Sure." As they walked toward the bar, whispers erupted all around them like sparks leaping off a fire. Some of her former classmates nudged each other. Others tried discreetly to take photos. A few, the ones who used to be quieter or more introverted, looked at her with a strange mix of admiration and surprise. They weren't mocking her, they were impressed, genuinely impressed. At the bar, the bartender greeted her warmly. "What can I get you? Sparkling water with lemon, please." She wasn't going to dull her senses tonight. This was too interesting. Kayla leaned in dramatically. "So, Mila, what have you been up to?" There it was, the fishing expedition. They weren't asking out of friendliness. They wanted to measure her, categorize her, place her neatly into a social box that made sense in their minds. If she said something humble, they'd pity her. If she said something impressive, they'd pretend not to care. Mila offered a small smile. "Working." "Oh?" Kayla pressed. "On what?" "Companies." Sarah blinked. "Companies? Like, plural?" "Multiple," Mila said simply, accepting her drink. Evan appeared suddenly, as if summoned by gossip. He slapped his hand on the bar counter. "Mila Rowan, wow! You look different." She looked at him. "So do you." He grinned awkwardly. Belly slightly rounder, hairline slightly thinner. "I didn't think you'd actually come. Why not?" No reason," he said quickly, eyes darting away. "Just thought maybe you'd be busy." "Busy being a joke," he meant. It hovered in the air unspoken. Mila didn't give him the satisfaction of reacting. She sipped her drink. Kayla was clearly impatient now. "So, Mila, what field are you in? Tech? Finance?" "A bit of both," Mila said. "I run an investment firm, and a software company, and a scholarship foundation." Their expressions froze. For 1 second, 2, 3. Then Kayla forced a laugh. "Oh my God, that's so cool. You're like a CEO?" "Several." Evan coughed on his drink. Kayla's smile cracked. Wow. That's amazing, Mila." "Really?" Mila studied her for a moment. 10 years ago, this woman wouldn't even let her sit at the same table. Now she couldn't look away. Before Kayla could figure out what to say next, someone else approached. Someone Mila actually remembered fondly. A small voice behind her whispered, "Mila?" She turned. It was Lana Singh, the quiet girl who used to sit in the back of the classroom, whose clothes were always a size too big, who never talked much but always offered a shy smile in the hallways. Lana had been one of the only people who didn't laugh at Mila. In fact, she had once shared her lunch with her. No one knew. Mila never forgot. Lana looked nervous now, holding a glass of soda like it might spill. "Hi. Oh my God, I can't believe you're here. You look incredible." Mila's smile warmed genuinely. "Lana, it's good to see you." Lana relaxed instantly. "I saw the helicopter landing. I thought maybe it was some rich celebrity or something. And then you stepped out, and I swear I almost dropped my drink." Kayla inserted herself back into the conversation. "Oh, you two know each other." "We were partnered in chemistry," Mila said. Kayla blinked. "Really? I don't remember that." Of course she didn't. She never noticed anything beyond her own bubble. Lana shuffled shyly. Mila, I'm really happy for you. Truly. Thank you, Mila said, meaning it. How you been? Oh, I teach now, 3rd grade. Mila's eyes softened. That sounds perfect for you. Lana blushed, smiling down at her drink. Kayla watched, clearly confused by why Mila was giving attention to someone like Lana, the irony of which was not lost on Mila. The DJ announced for everyone to gather in the main hall for the official reunion welcome. Kayla grabbed the mic, still the self-appointed leader of every group. The crowd dimmed down, some sitting at tables, others chatting quietly. Welcome back, Westridge class of 2015, she called, beaming. We're so excited to reconnect, reminisce, and celebrate everything we've accomplished over the past 10 years. She listed achievements of various classmates. Promotions, marriages, babies, businesses, relocations. Mila listened quietly, noticing the pride tinged with a hint of competition in the air. When Kayla finished, she added, And of course, we have some surprises tonight. You never know who might show up. In fact, I think we already had one dramatic entrance. The crowd laughed. Many turned to look at Mila. Kayla scanned the room, pretending it was cute. By the way, she added, everyone has cards on their tables. Write down your favorite high school memory. We'll read some later. Mila felt Lana lean in and whisper, Most people will lie. Mila smirked. I know. After the speech, people dispersed again, but the attention stayed magnetized to Mila everywhere she moved. Some approached her out of curiosity, some out of awe, some from jealousy so thinly veiled it was almost funny. She had expected the stares, the questions, the disbelief, but what she didn't expect was Jason Hart walking through the doors 30 minutes later. Jason, the quiet artistic boy who used to sit across the lunchroom sketching in his notebook. He didn't speak to anyone except teachers. He didn't bully her. He didn't join the popular crowd. He simply existed in his own world, unnoticed and unbothered. But there was one moment, senior year, when she dropped her books in the hall and nobody stopped. Everyone walked past. Some stepped over them, some laughed. Jason was the only person who helped her pick them up. He didn't say a word. He just handed her the last book with a small nod. She remembered that kindness like it was yesterday. Now he walked in wearing a fitted charcoal suit, taller, sharper, impossibly confident, like a man who finally grew into the bones he was given. His hair was neatly styled, and when he removed his sunglasses, he scanned the room with calm awareness. People stared. A few whispered. Mila wasn't the only one who had changed. Jason noticed her instantly. For a second, his expression didn't change, but his eyes did. They softened, warm, familiar. He approached her with that same quiet gentleness he had 10 years ago. Mila. She smiled genuinely. Jason. You're hard to miss, he said. So are you. Evan and Kayla watched from a distance, jealousy thick in their expressions. They didn't remember Jason. They never paid attention to him. But now, he walked like a man the world took seriously, and that alone annoyed them. Jason leaned against the bar beside her. I saw the helicopter. Too much? She asked lightly. He shook his head once. Not at all. For the first time that evening, Mila felt something unfamiliar, comfort. She hadn't realized how tense her spine had been until it loosened just a centimeter. Jason looked around. They haven't changed much. Some have, she murmured. I noticed you walked in here like you owned the place. I don't, but you easily could. She didn't deny it. They talked for several minutes. Easy, natural conversation that felt startlingly grounding amidst a room of people who once framed her existence through cruelty. But peace never lasted long around the old crowd. While Jason was speaking, Evan sauntered over again, 2 friends flanking him, clearly emboldened by drinks and bluster. So, Mila, Evan said louder than necessary, you and Jason catching up? Cute reunion moment, huh? Jason's relaxed demeanor shifted into something subtly protective. Mila turned slightly, face calm. Did you need something, Evan? Yeah. He puffed his chest. Wanted to ask if you remember that stupid award from senior year, the one you got? Most likely to stay invisible. His friends snickered. Kayla watched from across the room, not stopping it but smirking like she enjoyed the show. Mila didn't flinch. I remember, well, Evan continued, looks like you proved us wrong, huh? Showing up in a helicopter and all. A little dramatic, don't you think? Jason stepped closer. Back off, Evan. Evan laughed. Relax, man, we're just joking. It wasn't funny then, Jason said, voice even. It's still not. A few people nearby went silent, sensing tension. Mila placed her drink on the counter and looked Evan directly in the eyes. Do you remember what you told me the day before graduation? He blinked. What? You said I'd never be anyone, that some people were born losers. He chuckled uncomfortably. I was just a kid. You were old enough to know the weight of your words, she said softly. But you were wrong. Evan scoffed. Yeah? And what, you're like some millionaire now or something? Jason stared at Evan like he was an idiot. You really don't know? Know what? Evan asked, annoyed. Mila's voice remained calm, steady, unshaken. Evan, I'm the founder of Rowan Industries. The name hung in the air like a lightning strike. Mouths dropped. Gasps swept across the nearby tables. Rowan Industries, an international tech investment empire, the kind news anchors discussed, the kind magazines profiled, the kind billionaires fund with. And Evan's face drained of every shade of color. You're that Rowan? He whispered. Yes, she said. I am. The room vibrated with stunned silence, and for the first time in 10 years, Mila felt the ground shifting under her feet, not because she was entering their world, but because they were finally forced to see hers. The silence that followed her revelation was almost physical, like the room itself was holding its breath. Evan's mouth opened and closed, his brain scrambling for something, anything to say. But there was no joke that could soften the blow. No bravado strong enough to mask humiliation so pure it radiated off him like heat. His friends stared at him, then at her, then back at him again, their smirks collapsing into stunned blankness. Kayla stepped forward, mask of confidence slipping. Wait, Rowan Industries? Like the Rowan Industries? She asked, voice trembling with disbelief. She tried to hide behind a shaky smile. The tech firm that bought out half the Southeast Asian market last year? The one in Forbes? Yes, Mila said simply. You're on Forbes? Kayla choked. Twice. Kayla looked like she might pass out. A murmur spread across the room like electricity running through wires, name after name whispering to another, pointing toward her, eyes widening, expressions flickering from confusion, to awe, to something darker, regret. Whole clusters of classmates shifted in their seats, recalibrating their internal hierarchies, the same hierarchies they clung to like life rafts since adolescence. They didn't know what to do with this new information, this unexpected rewriting of a girl they once dismissed as irrelevant. And for the first time that night, Mila let herself enjoy the discomfort. Jason, relaxed again, leaned closer and murmured, That went better than expected. I'd say so, she replied, keeping her expression carefully neutral even as adrenaline hummed under her skin. Kayla recovered enough to step closer, clutching her glass like a lifeline. Mila, wow, we had no idea. I mean, if we knew you were doing such incredible things, you would have included me? Mila asked softly. Kayla froze, her eyes flicking nervously. Well, yes, of course. I mean, we were all so young in school. People change. Some of us had no choice but to, Mila answered. Kayla blinked rapidly, but before she could form another excuse wrapped in a smile, the reunion coordinator, a guy from the student council, announced that dinner was being served. The crowd began filtering into the banquet area, a room with long tables draped in white linen, soft lights glowing overhead. Mila walked in with Jason beside her, Lana shyly trailing behind them. They took seats at the center table, by invitation, though no one had actually invited them there. Everyone kept glancing over, whispering when they thought she couldn't hear. She ignored the staring and focused on Lana instead. You okay? Mila asked gently. Lana nodded quickly. I'm just proud of you, she said, voice surprisingly steady, and a little overwhelmed. I always knew you'd be something. Mila smiled. Thank you, Lana. You were one of the few kind ones. Lana's eyes softened. People should have treated you better. Mila didn't respond. The silence said enough. When dinner was served, salmon, roasted vegetables, truffle mashed potatoes, people moved through the buffet line, subtly trying to get close to her. They asked questions. They offered compliments. They made exaggerated comments about how amazing everything she'd done was. All of it reeked of desperation. And Mila handled it all with calm, measured politeness. Halfway through dinner, someone, probably Kayla, suggested playing a memory game. The idea was basic. People picked slips from a bowl and read out random memories from high school. Mila braced herself. This could turn ugly fast. Evan went first. He picked a slip, cleared his throat dramatically, and read, "Most unforgettable moment watching Coach Simmons fall off a chair." Laughter echoed around the room. Safe memory. Kayla picked next. "Cutting class to go to the lake," she read. More laughter. Then someone from the back read, "The time we put extra ketchup in the cafeteria stew," and the room erupted again. Everything seemed harmless. Until Mila's turn. Kayla held out the bowl, smiling expectantly. "Your turn, Mila." Mila reached in and pulled out a slip. The paper felt thin between her fingers. When she opened it, her stomach tightened, not from fear, but from recognition. It read, "The invisible girl in the hallway." What was her name again? A hush swept through the room like a wind extinguishing candles. People shifted uncomfortably. Some avoided eye contact. Others stared at her with that painful, guilty look that came too late. Mila folded the slip neatly between her fingers, set it on the table, and looked up. "I was the invisible girl," she said softly. "My name was the punchline." Nobody moved. "And I remember," she continued, her voice gentle but unshakably firm, "every hallway, every whisper. Every day I spent wondering what was wrong with me. Every lunch I ate alone. Every time someone looked at me like I didn't belong." Kayla opened her mouth, but Mila kept going. "But I also remember something else, that every time I cried in a bathroom stall, I promised myself that one day I'd build a life so big, no one could ever make me feel small again." The silence was absolute, thick with discomfort, regret, and something else, respect. "And I did," Mila said. "Not because of you, but in spite of you." Kayla's eyes filled with hot shame. Evan looked down at his plate. Mila didn't raise her voice. She didn't attack them. She didn't humiliate them. She simply told the truth. And that truth was more powerful than any revenge she could have planned. Then, from across the table, Jason said quietly, "You weren't invisible to everyone." The room turned toward him. Mila's breath caught, just slightly. Jason continued, "Some people noticed how kind you were, how hard you worked, how you kept going, even when people didn't deserve your strength. And I remember thinking, if anyone from our class deserved to make it big, it was you." The room softened with a collective exhale. Lana wiped her eyes. Mila felt something she hadn't expected to feel tonight. Healing, slow, surprising, real. Dinner continued, subdued at first, but slowly the tension thinned. Some people approached her genuinely, apologizing softly, admitting guilt they'd carried for years. Others stayed away, unsure how to reconcile their past behavior with the woman standing confidently in front of them. When the event neared its end, people trickled outside to the lakeside patio where lanterns glowed and soft music floated through the air. Mila stepped out into the night, breathing in the quiet breeze, feeling the weight of the evening settle inside her, not heavy but grounding. Jason joined her. "You handled that better than anyone else would have." She shrugged lightly. "They expected the girl I used to be. They saw the woman you became," he replied. They stood in silence for a moment, watching the reflection of lights ripple across the lake. "I'm glad you came tonight," Jason said finally. "So am I," she answered honestly. "I didn't think I would be. You gave them something they'll never forget." She glanced up at him. "A helicopter tends to do that." He chuckled. "Not just the helicopter." A warmth settled between them, gentle, unforced, familiar in a way she hadn't expected. When the night drew to a close and people began walking toward their cars, still whispering about her, still glancing back at her, still trying to make sense of the unexpected shift in their world, Mila headed toward the private landing area where her helicopter waited, its sleek silhouette glowing under the soft lights. Some of her old classmates lingered nearby, watching as if witnessing a dream made real. But they didn't try to approach, not out of fear, out of understanding. Jason walked with her to the edge of the pad. "You know," he said, lightly teasing, "you could have just driven." "I could have," she admitted, "but then they would have thought I came here for them." "And you didn't?" She shook her head with a small, knowing smile. "No, I came for me." Jason's eyes softened. "If you ever want to grab coffee sometime, catch up without the audience." "I'd like that." Mila's heart warmed in a way nothing about tonight had prepared her for. "I'd like that too." She stepped into the helicopter as the blades began to spin. The wind lifted her hair, her jumpsuit fluttering slightly in the growing force. Jason stepped back, shielding his eyes, watching her with a look that was something between admiration and quiet pride. The helicopter lifted slowly, rising above the resort, above the lights, above the people who once thought she was forgettable. From below, she could see the crowd looking up again, just as they had when she arrived. Only this time, it wasn't curiosity or mockery in their eyes. It was respect, and something much closer to awe. As the helicopter ascended into the night sky, Mila felt the last remnants of her past fall away like dust in the wind. She wasn't escaping anymore. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't proving anything. She was simply soaring, exactly where she belonged. And this time, she wasn't the invisible girl. She was the woman they would never forget.